There are tons of videos online about cinematic B-roll with creators like Daniel Schaefer or Peter McKinnon absolutely crushing it. And understandably, I mean, they're pretty cool. So today's video is kind of the same with a little twist. I'm going to be breaking down how I made the intro to this video in my room using only window light and my lamp back there. Also, I'm going to share with you some tips and tricks that you can use to make your own boring cinematic B-roll. Well, cinematic B-roll in boring places, like my room. Not boring cinematic B-roll. And make sure to stick around because at the end of this video, I'm going to share with you a bonus tip that's going to help you make your videos look a lot better. So the first thing you need before you even start filming is an idea or a plan. For me, I knew that I was going to shoot this in my room using only existing lights like the window and my lamp, and the only thing I was going to film was the accessories I have on my desk, like my hard drives or my chargers or my laptop. Now, yeah, these might be some boring things, but the whole point of this video is how to turn them into an absolute cinematic banger. Once you've got your idea and kind of what you want to film, then comes the actual filming. Now, I shoot mostly out of my videos, including the intro to this video, handheld. And for those of you wondering how I get smooth shots, well, there's a little trick to it. And for those type of shots, what I do is I shoot in 60 frames per second. Shooting in a high frame rate like 120 or 60 frames per second will allow you to slow it down in post and give it a smoother feel or smoother look. For example, here's the same clip shot at 60 frames per second, not slowed down. And here it is slowed down at 40%. So as you can see, when it's slowed down, it makes it look kind of like it was shot on a gimbal. So shooting in a high frame rate really helps to make your footage look more smooth. Another trick is using foreground. Just having something right in front of the lens really helps to create more depth and isolate your subject. And in my opinion, I think this works best with close-up shots. For the intro to this video, mostly all of the shots are close-ups or medium close-ups. So yeah, I use this trick pretty much all of the time. And then comes editing. Now, the first thing I do before I even start editing is name my clips. This is very important in order to stay organized. Another reason why you should name your clips is because it helps you find them easier. Let's say you need to find a specific clip, you can just type the name and then you find it quicker. So naming my clips is one of the first things that I always do before I start editing. And then when all my clips are named and organized, I select all of them and I drag them in the timeline. Exciting stuff. And then comes the process that I like to call the selections. Basically what I do is I go through all of the clips and select which ones that I'm going to use for the video. Now, I rarely use every clip that I've shot. If I did, the video would be super long. There's a lot of shots that I got for the intro to this video, but I just ended up not using them because they didn't really serve any purpose and they were just like some cool shots, but they didn't help flow the video forward, so I just didn't use them, and that's okay. Only use the clips that help the flow of the video and that help it move it forward. Speaking of story and flow, within the intro to this video, there are 4 sequences. The first sequence is the beginning. This is where we see outside and a beautiful sunset. And then it transitions to the second sequence. This is where we see a close-up of my desk and the different things that I have on it, like my hard drives, my chargers, markers, plants. And then it transitions to the third sequence, which is basically showing my computer from different angles. The fourth and last sequence, which is the ending, is where we see a wider look at my whole desk. So basically we went from outside of my room looking at the sunset to a series of close-up shots inside my room showing the different things I have on my desk and showing my computer. And the last sequence is where we see the bigger picture, if you will, of my entire desk. So this is what I mean when I say to come up with an idea or a plan of what your b-roll is going to look like. Now after your edit is done, the next part is color grading. And before any of you ask, no, I don't use any LUTs. Why? Well, I really like playing with the different colors in my images, and I feel like using a LUT kind of takes away from that, at least for me. But in case you're wondering, my color grading style is basically desaturated greens, lots of contrast, punchy, reddish, orangish tones, and teal shadows. Next up is sound design. Now sound design is something that I really enjoy, and it's probably one of the most important parts in making a cinematic b-roll. For example, let's watch part of the intro to this video with and without sound design. Now, as you can see, taking the time to add sound design really makes a difference. The most common types of sound effects for transitions are whooshes. Playing with the speed of your whoosh sound effect can really make it sound different. For example, if you slow it down, it makes it sound deeper and can be used for longer transitions. But if you speed it up, it makes it sound really fast for fast transitions. So even if you only have a few whoosh sound effect, you can play with the speed and make them sound different. Another sound I used was in the sequence where I showed my computer, and that was just typing sound effect. Why? Well, it just sounded cool, and yeah, I just wanted to use it, so I did. Don't be afraid to try out new sound effects, because it might really help your videos. Last but not least is music. It's important that you choose the right type of music for your videos. Most of the time, I like to edit my videos first and then pick out my background music. But for this one, I did the opposite. I actually got my background music first. Now, when you have your background music, a good thing to do is to mark the different beats in the song. For example, where the song slows down or where it speeds up, or maybe there's a little break in the song. Being aware of all those different parts of the song will really help to motivate your edit. And that's basically it. But for those of you who stayed this far, thank you by the way, I have a bonus tip for you, and that is aspect ratios. What I would see a lot of people do, and also what I used to do, is just go online and get a PNG of some black bars and then lay it over my videos. Now here's why this is not a good thing to do. If someone is watching your video on a lower resolution like 640p, it'll actually pixelate your black bars and make them look blurry, especially with YouTube's compression. And you don't want that. So if you're looking for a cinematic aspect ratio like 2.35 to 1, you actually have to edit in that aspect ratio. For example, in your editing software, go to your timeline or sequence settings and change the aspect ratio to be this for HD or this for 4K. But that's all I have for you today. If you've enjoyed this video or learned something new from it, feel free to share support by leaving a like on the video, sharing it with your friends, or even subscribing to my channel. I upload new filmmaking related content like this every couple weeks or so. Make sure to turn on post notifications so that you won't miss when I upload. That's it for me. Keep creating, and I'll see you in the next one.